All right, everybody. Welcome to podcast number 7, Stratford Warriors Report. I'm your host, Les Vaders. Tonight, I'm going to bring him in right away because we're going to get right into it. My first co-host, and we're co-hosts on the Armchair Chirpers, Jeff Burrows, is joining us tonight. Jeff, how you doing?
Good day. I'm doing good, Les. How are you?
All right, back on the saddle, eh?
Yeah, well, I think you could put a fair title on the number one podcast in 2023, 2024 for Stratford and area we created.
That's right, the Armchair Chirpers. We had a
Yeah,
great time, and we're going to, rekindle a little bit of that here tonight. You never
yeah.
know
I
what
really
might happen.
appreciate the invite, my friend. So,
Hey,
yeah, looking forward to it.
Hey, it's just great to have you back in the saddle because it was a great thing we had going there, and things happen, but here we are.
All good.
All right, so Stratford with a very successful weekend, a 4-point weekend, a big win there Friday night. Let's get right into it. We're going to talk about that game first, Jeff. I'm just going to put the banner up. There we go. Move us over to the side here. There we go. Big 8-4 win there Friday night. A lot of goal scorers. You were at that game Friday night, Jeff.
I was, and it was to a point where Stratford had to figure it out because ultimately, if anybody was there that saw it, I mean, Stratford was rightfully so with their talent. They were giving it to Welland pretty good. What we saw was a lot of shots to minimal shots from Welland, and it was just a matter of time before I think Stratford started to get rewarded, which happened. What were your
That,
thoughts? What did you see out
that,
there?
that goaltender from Welland,
From
he
Welland?
played outstanding. Like that first period, it could have been 8-0 in the first period, but some of the saves he
Yeah.
made were phenomenal. Like
Well, we were
Stratford was
standing down at that end.
yeah.
Stratford was really taking it to them. And, there's two decisions I think that a team makes when they see a goaltender like that. They really get in their head that they're not going to be able to produce offense, or they put the foot on the throat and they get it going. And that's exactly what Stratford did. I like the way they were persistent with their offense. They were constantly swarming on the offensive rushes, pressuring their defense, testing the goalie. And then you see with the final score, they really got rewarded for their efforts. But I think it was 52 shots they had.
52 shots, yeah. So it was a
Yeah.
lot of rubber on the goaltender there. Like Dominic Marshall had the first goal and Grady Murphy the second goal. This is a line with Cohen Galbraith. Um, you can't really call them the fourth line anymore because they play all sorts of minutes. These guys, I think the coaching staff has the best of it. I talked to Jason Clark about it Friday night. It's a great thing for the coaching staff. They could just roll 4 lines right now. And you don't need that fourth line to go out and give the big guys some rest because these are the big guys that are scoring the goals.
Well, I couldn't agree more. And I have to admit, it was, I've only been to a couple games this year. So to see the team from the start of the season when they played Hamilton to the game Friday night, um, there's been a lot of progress with the players, with the team, with the chemistry. And I mean, those are things that if you talk to someone like GM Nick Parr or Clarkey there, that's all about the process of the season. And I really noticed a difference. And the line that you're speaking of, they're just those bulldogs out there. I mean, I wasn't familiar with Grady Murphy. He really caught my attention out there,
Yeah,
as did the full line
yeah. The kid
and the
has
other
no
lines as
quit,
well.
right? Yeah.
Well, he's hard to play against, and I mean, with someone like him, that's what you have to do. He's 5'7", but he's out there and he's doing his job with some great line mates. So you get production, and that's exactly what happened from that line Friday.
We're just waiting for Cohen Galbraith to put one in the back of the net. This kid, I think, once he gets one, I think the floodgates are going to open for him. He digs the puck out. They cycle the puck really well. That line does.
Couldn't agree more. And the thing that I really like about a player like a veteran like Dominic Marshall is he leads the way with the swarming of their D when they're behind the net, when they're trying to produce a breakout. They're in there swarming and they're really making life difficult for those D to try to create something to break out. And like kudos to those guys. And I noticed it across the board with all the lines. The coaching staff has them really playing well on the offensive attack when they're trying to recoup the puck. And, the Murphy, is it Galbraith? My apologies.
Oh, Colin Galbraith. Yep.
Yeah, and Marshall, like what a great example of just a hardworking line. You've seen Marshall take another step this year in his career in Junior B. Not to get too far ahead, but I can't remember what the player was for Welland with the tilt. But man, oh man, he did not have
Miranda, yeah.
any fun
I
with that tilt
downloaded.
with Marshall.
Yeah, I downloaded the clip. I was going to show it tonight. I just never got everything set up. Still trying to move around the house without
Well,
killing
that's
myself.
okay. Well, I'm here to tell listeners and viewers. I was really, really proud, I guess, of Marshall. The Welland player was looking to take liberties, and Marshall wasn't taking it. And he pumped his team up even more than they already were.
Yeah.
And, hats off. It's not ideal. I know that they're trying to balance the physicalities of fighting in Junior B. I respect that. You're going to get the odd tilt. These are teenagers. And, tip of the cap to Marshall for not backing down. The player for Welland was visibly bigger. That doesn't always mean that they're in tough, but it makes it interesting. And Marshall answered the bell. So, there was that great play too.
Dom had what I call the fight of the year when he fought a player down in that far corner. They went toe to toe for about a minute and a half, just throwing haymakers. And when I was calling the game Friday night there, and I'm saying to the general, I'm saying to everybody on air, if he gets his helmet off and he gets that right hand loose, look out. He got the helmet off of Miranda, and he got that right hand loose. And it pretty well ended pretty much quickly after that, as he landed a few good shots with that right, and that was pretty much the end of the fight there.
Yeah, well, he's a tough customer. He's a tough kid. A huge asset. Like I say, fighting isn't encouraged in Junior B, but when it has to happen with a player like that, it was something to see.
Yeah, so he scored the first goal of the night, and that was pretty much, he curled out of the corner, got a shot on the goaltender, Ryan Moore, and then followed up with his rebound, was able to sneak it in right down there in front of you guys. That's a goal scorer's goal.
It really was, and I think maybe I was seeing things, but I think he winked to Murphy on that play, like he knew that he slipped it in there, and beauty goal. And a lot of labor went into it. They were grinding hard and got rewarded for it. So
the Grady Murphy goal in there in the second period, that was just a face-off play by Colin Galbraith. Just push that puck forward off the goaltender right to Grady, and Grady just buries it. And that's been a lot of Grady's goals this year. He's just timely rebounds, able to bury this puck. I think he's up to 6 goals, maybe 7 goals now.
I did check before we came on. He does have 6 goals, and the thing that I like about that, Les, is that these players on the Stratford team that are creating these opportunities with, like, over the course of the weekend, they had over 100 shots on the opposing goalies. You're going to get rewarded for those amount of chances, and with a guy like Grady Murphy who's able to pot 6 and get rewarded for those efforts. I mean, those are the reasons you're going to go up and win in hockey games for sure.
Yeah, it was, and really Luke Menard with the big hat trick there Friday night. He was just sniffing around that. Him and Jonas on the same line just seemed to be Jonas a little bit snake bitten there Friday night, but Luke just seemed to be potting everything that was on his stick.
Yeah, well, he stuck out like a sore thumb Friday night, and just the talent on that line speaks for itself. Like, they're no fun to play against. It doesn't matter what your record is when you come into Stratford. When you're playing against these lines and these players, you're seeing the progress and the structure of how these players are taught to play with the system in place that are put in by the Warrior organization. And when you execute it, it's a beautiful thing to watch. Like, it really is.
Yeah. Quinn Kipper was quiet Friday night with all those goals. He's one of the guys I expect to be on the score sheet. Colin Slattery had another goal, which was Collins just seems to be chugging along like he does. He's got that wrist shot. That's one-timer that he can get away and gets it in the back of net. Another guy that's been producing well this year has been Jack McGurn. So I was able to change his name Friday night. He's now November Jack. He graduated from October Jack to November Jack because he just seems to plug away every game and get the puck in the net.
He really stuck out. And I mean, we keep on mentioning these players. And I keep on bringing up some great points, but Jack McGurn to me Friday night was just this, and I say this with the utmost respect. He was like a tornado on some of the shifts. He was going in there, he was hanging and banging and creating chances, and this is an example of a player who's really come into his own in Junior B. It was last year his first year with the team.
Yeah. He was one of the 6 young kids.
Yeah, and I even noticed from last year to this year, you're seeing the general progression of a player in Junior B. He's got good size out there. He's aggressive. He's hungry for the puck. He's looking to make plays. And I mean, these players. I mean, this team that they've assembled here in Stratford is, to me, if I may say, and I mean this with the utmost respect, I guess. I think it's your classic example of a Junior B team in the Ontario Hockey League, Junior B level. Just with you have the veterans, you have the in-betweeners that are coming through. I mean, you have the examples of Kiffer and Slattery and those guys coming on, and you have the rookies who are producing and seeing what happens. And I just think that. There's a lot of great things to come with this team.
Yeah, I was able to get Matthew Purdue, the big defenseman for Stratford. He was out of the lineup Friday night. It's a numbers game, but he was in the lineup Saturday. I had him on the second intermission. Very well-spoken young man. Kudos to his mom and dad. I talked to them a lot at the game. He's well-spoken, and I asked him about the calming influence of Noah Bender on the back end. Gage Hurst played Friday night, and I thought he did a very good job in that. He's played very well since Noah Bender's come into this team for Stratford. But Noah's just such a calming influence on the back end for this young goaltender in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, goalies like that who have the experience, they're going to create a calm in the zone, and we've seen it over the years, the years and the seasons that we've watched this hockey team. And when you have that type of influence from a goalie who's been in the league, you get that effect on the whole team, right?
Yeah. Do you ever remember a goalie duel this size in Stratford? You got Gage Hurst at 6'2" and Noah Bender at 6'4".
Well, it certainly wasn't from the Matt Barnes era, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, no. And I mean, let's face it, the kids are a lot taller these days. Back in the day, you were looking at 6'1", 6'2", or sorry, back in the day, you're looking at 6 foot, 200 was a really good size. You're getting all sizes now. But like you say, this Noah Bender player that's come in and really kind of calm the defense. It's showing. It's reflecting in the game in, game out progress.
Yeah, the general was commenting there Sunday night. He talked to Noah's girlfriend, who's been at every game since Noah joined the team, and she said, "I would just like to see this team start scoring some more goals in front of Noah because it gets nerve-wracking being the goaltender's girlfriend sitting in the stands with these close games." So Friday night they get the big 8-4 win. A great game all around by the whole team. I thought it was a very well played home game. I had some texts, I had some calls, I had some emails when I was off, and everybody was asking what's wrong with Stratford. I don't think there's anything wrong with Stratford. I just think it's the number of games we've played. So we have 3 to 5 games.
People are asking that though, Les, well, like what do you think they're pertaining to when they ask what's wrong? Where they are in the standings, or
it's where they are. It's where they are in the standings, and our goals for. So our goals for we were going into Friday. We were 3.5 goals per game, so that was 5th worst in the conference.
Right.
So they they've been having a hard time producing goals. And it's I think it's the quality of the teams we're playing as well. This Western Conference is just wild.
Yeah, and we know that. The thing that I like about the team is if they're having some challenges with scoring goals and they're getting 18 to 20 to 25 shots a game, that's a whole different story than a team that creates 50 shots for itself. Now, that's not every game, but I'm looking at the shot totals that this team's getting game in and game out, and they're up and around 30, 35. So that's what you're looking for, I believe, in this league. And, when you create those chances, you're going to eventually get rewarded. And I mean, you're still bringing players along, the newer players to the team, the gelling, like you say. What are we, about 20 games in now, Les?
We're at game number 17, 18.
17, so we're flirting with 20.
20, 21, 23.
Yeah.
So, we got a lot of games in hand, but you're going to see December is very busy for Stratford. We got
yeah, you were saying
5 games in 8 nights. First week of January, 5 games in 8 nights. So,
right.
That's where those games in hand, we're going to have to, and we need to win those games in hand is the biggest thing. We're going to look at the standings after we talk about the next game. Caledonia there on Saturday night.
Yeah, you were there right the next night.
Yeah, right back on the horse. Caledonia, 3-1 final. It was a hard-hitting game. Now, Caledonia they're a fairly big squad, and in the first shift, Quinn Kiffer got pasted behind the Caledonia net, but he bounces right back up, right into the game. I think that woke him up and got him into the game, but there were some big hits. Joe Curtin threw an open ice hit in and around center ice, and the guy went down really quick. Frayne stepped up. Aaron Green, oh my gosh, Aaron Green. He's not the biggest defenseman, but he threw another open ice hit, and it was just a hard-hitting game, which we don't usually see from Stratford because they're not a big squad.
Yeah, exactly. And, I think that says a lot about a team who maybe doesn't have size in their favor. They're still willing to mix it up. They're still willing to battle, be physical, make it miserable for the other team. And, from some of the highlights that I saw, it's part of it. You got to figure out a way, and I think the score reflects that. And I mean, what observations did you see there last on Saturday?
Well, like Lucas Bernard, he was another fabulous. He got another goal, so that was 4 goals for the weekend. Quinn Kiffer with the 2 goals. He really took the game, but I thought that was probably one of the best road games Stratford's played all year. And it really didn't look like it was going to be that way. Caledonia got out to the 1-goal lead, and they were just trying to shut Stratford down and keep them in. Just take the body to him. Stratford was able to answer the call. Noah Bender made some saves that just don't get made by some goaltenders. And he's just such a very well-positioned goaltender. And that's why the general gave him the second star of the game, because he kept them in the game. And we talked about last Friday night against Chatham when Chatham was in town. Noah Bender kept this team in the game for the first 2 periods, and he made 3 saves that kept Stratford in the game. You give Chatham a goal that they don't deserve, and then you can't catch up. I think the same with Caledonia. Caledonia, their record, I think they're 9-9 now. So are they? They might have won.
They're 9-10 after the loss on the weekend.
Yeah. So they lost twice on the weekend because they lost Sunday too. So their record's kind of deceiving, whereas our record, I'm going to bring that up because the big win there Saturday night, so it gives us 4 points for the weekend. But if you look at the standings right now, the biggest thing I want to point out is if you look at Stratford, you look at the win percentage, we're at .735. So we're 3rd in the league in win percentage. So it's those games in hand. Like we got 17 games. So we're 17 games. And everybody else, you got Chatham at 22. You got St. Mary's at 20, 21 for London. Elmira's got 19. Elmira just went on an 11-0 tear and lost a game there on the weekend. So this division is kind of wild.
Well, that too, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Stratford slipped into Chatham on a Sunday and beat them at home, did they not? There a few weeks ago.
Yeah, in a shootout.
Yeah.
And of course, shootout, Noah Bender made the save of the year so far in that shootout.
Well, there you go.
No.
So they all help each other out, and I mean, I think that's what I'm alluding to with the progress of this team. And I've heard in conversations with Jason Clark that I've had over the time. Those are the main focuses that they want. In the course of a season. And you've had them too, Les. And the kind of mentality you want to have is, from what I gather, is if you're going into a 2 or 3 game weekend where you got to play, you want to be 500 or better,
Yeah.
and that's what this team's doing
Yeah.
up to this point. So, I guess I would say, and I know that you're not challenging these people who are asking you what's wrong with Stratford. I'm looking at the record at 11-3-1-2. I mean, they're doing good things. If there's something that they want to polish a little bit, probably a little bit more offense, and I think they know that. I don't think it's any secret. I think that they go over the details extremely well, and I think the best is yet to come for this team, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Jason Clark has one of the best lines. He'd rather be the hunter than the hunted,
Mm-hmm.
going in this time of year and then after Christmas, right? You want to be the team hunting the teams above you because you might be on a bit more of a roll than these other teams. They might let off the gas a little bit. We saw that last year.
Well, and I mean, and I know what you're saying when you say let off the gas. I just truly think it comes into fatigue factors. There's injury challenges that come up. There's the grind of the season, and these teams who are out to great starts. I think there's full credit to all their efforts. The sustainability in this league with the parity that we're familiar with. Is going to come to fruition at some point. They're great hockey teams at the top of this division, but we both know, along with a lot of the people who are tuning in, that by the end of it, it's going to be pretty even. There's a lot of competition in this division, and it always becomes evident.
Yeah, because you can see it there, like from third down to eighth. It's just we got 7 points, right? And then it
Yeah,
sort of drops off after there. But these 3-point games, I talked to Clarky about this. It's these 3-point games that really muddles up this division. And Stratford with 2 shootout losses this year. We hadn't been in a shootout in 2 years
isn't
before
that
this.
something? Eh?
It's
Yeah.
kind of wild. And now we've been in 3 of them, this year already. And it's such a wild division. I just find the Western Conference. The Eastern Conference, it seems you got your top couple, and then it just really drops off after there.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a little bit more one-sided teams over in the other division, and I don't know what the meaning of that is. Maybe just different opportunities for players to go different places. But I like the health of this league, Les. Like
Yeah.
I'm looking at the numbers that you're showing, and the storyline so far. I mean, this is exactly what you want, I think. And I know that all these teams that we're talking about, the London Nationals, the Elmira's, St. Mary's, of course, St. Mary's, the 19, was it 16 or 19 rookies in St.
And
Thomas?
St. Thomas, and look at the record they're putting up. This is
Yeah,
they're not an upstart team, and I called them an upstart. And General goes, well, maybe we need to drop that title because you know what you're going to get now with St. Thomas. They're going to come in and they're going to make you work hard. And they
yeah,
caught us. They caught us a couple weeks ago sleeping in the third period,
yeah,
and took
yeah,
took us to a shootout again, right? And
yeah.
they got the extra point.
So
So
I mean, that's to me, it creates the health of a league. You remember back in the day, Les, when it was like Stratford and Waterloo,
yeah,
or Stratford and another team. And there's nothing wrong with that because we are Stratford fans.
yeah,
But think about like the Kitchener Dutchmen when they were in their days of not being able to compete, or the Guelph hockey team back in the day. Those are teams where they'd literally have to try to go around the university and see if a couple people could fill in for their team because they didn't have enough players to fill the roster. So I like all this. Like, what are your thoughts? Do you like the health of the league and the
I
competition?
I I love the health of the league. I love the way it's going. This partnership with the OHL is going to I think it's going to make more positive things for this league. Um, Come the trade deadline, January 12th, you might see these teams that are 8, 9, 10 even 11 in list. Like, Listowel, I don't think they stay down there very long. I don't think they sit on it the way they're playing. Sarnia is the only team really that I don't know what's going on in Sarnia.
I have to be honest. I don't know how I don't know how that happens in this league with Sarnia. It's really unfortunate. I mean, I don't know how these players get up to come to a game. I mean, I've been on those teams. It's horrible. And at this level, I mean, when you're dealing with teams that are rolling, it's a miserable night. Miserable.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the goals against is almost 150. Like,
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And then you go up,
bad.
Stratford 42. So we're tied with Elmira I think we're tied with Elmira in the league right now. Or Cambridge Redhawks might be better now. Cambridge, there's a team that's very well coached by Todd Bertuzzi. They're pushing all the right buttons. They are 20-0 now. Such good things coming out of Cambridge as well. An old Midwestern Conference rival. I was hoping that game against Waterloo on the weekend. I thought Waterloo had a chance to take a chunk out of Cambridge, but Cambridge just showed up again. They just show up every night.
Well, it's true. And I mean, let's talk about influence. When you have a guy like Todd Bertuzzi who's come in, let's be honest, unless he's coached at a certain level, I mean, you don't just come in and dominate or have a team that dominates. There's a lot of things that have to go right as well. It sounds like it is. The thing that I've heard about Cambridge from some of the questions I've asked the people involved is, there's not a lot of anything except a lot of talking from Bertuzzi, educating, bringing along accountability, all the fundamental things that make a hockey team go as well as they are, and kudos to them. But again, let's talk about sustainability through the season. And it's hard to say how many they're going to lose, but it will come a time. And when that does happen, how's the adversity happen with that team?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of scenarios that can happen with that. But yeah, as far as Cambridge and supporting a junior B team that, has minor hockey league players in it, kudos to Cambridge. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So coming up this weekend, we're going to have the St. Thomas Stars in Friday night. So we'll get to see them again. Very well. They had a rough go with Chatham the other night, but Chatham, they're kind of wishy-washy. Brandon Feasey is doing a great job in Chatham as coach and GM there. And then we get everybody, just take note of this. Sunday at 4:30, Stratford plays the Strathroy Rockets at the William Allman Arena. So that's a 4:30 game. If you show up at 7:30, you might be there right at the end of the game.
What is there? Is it just one in the schedule that they play on a Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, it's just one of those in the schedule. We have another weird one coming up. We play St. Mary's on a Thursday night, and then we also play. We have a Sunday game against Listowel, but that's usual. It's just the way the schedule's worked out this year.
Sure.
Let's have a quick look at the 3 stars for the weekend. Luke Menard with the 4 goals is going to get the first star. Played very well. Got the scoring touchback in that. Quinn Kipfer, 2 goals. After his stint with the battalion there the weekend before, he come back. Played well Friday night, just couldn't get anything past the goaltender. Got 2 goals Sunday night, which really gave us that road victory. And I gave the 3rd star to Hayden Frayne. He had 3 assists over the weekend, but he played a solid game. Being the captain of this team, he knows when to says the right things. He's out there to try and do what he can. And I just thought he had a solid weekend and deserved a little bit of acknowledgement for the weekend he had after being out of the lineup the weekend before. So there's the 3 stars for the weekend, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, great picks. Menard actually, so at the barber shop, we give out haircuts for the program prizes, and somebody gave Menard one, and he came in, and there's something as we get older, Les, and I know you can appreciate this. It's about the manners of young people, and Kipfer's been in the shop. Menard was in the shop, and you know these young people, just a tip of the cap to them. They're nice young men. They're working hard. They're playing hockey, having the time of their lives. And there's nothing that goes further with me than these manners with the young people. And you know, of course, they have their nights with their buddies and all that stuff. Let's not kid ourselves. But when they're out in public and they're doing things, I just wanted to make a point of that, a tip of the cap to some of these players that I've met. Um, it goes a long way with us old guys. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah. Pause just for a second. Stratford moves up 2 spots in the power rankings. You got Cambridge in first, holding on with the undefeated record there. The Elmira, like I said, the Elmira Sugar Kings, they've been on a tear. Chatham Maroons have been playing very well. St. Catherine Falcons had a tough weekend. St. Mary's again moving up another spot. Behind us, you got London Nationals, didn't move, really played well. St. Thomas started dropping back, losing some games. Fort Erie had a big win on the weekend, but they've moved back. And the Port Colborne Sailors take the 10th spot in the power rankings. Do you look at the power rankings when they come out every week?
I don't. I think that's a less thing because I know that you're always up on them. I don't, but I know that Stratford's been a little bit lower than they're looking, so it's good to see them starting to move up.
Yeah, we started the first power rankings, we were in 9th, so you know, moving up to 6th, and it's just, and people say, well, you know, their record. I said, but you got to read the reasoning for the power rankings. It's sheer number of games that we have not played, and our win percentage. So, and the quality of teams you play too, that affects your power rankings as well.
Right.
So when you get a win over Chatham last week, you know, that sort of helped your cause, you know that.
Right.
All right.
No, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be that. That'll be the end of the Junior B side of it. Have you been able to follow St. Mary's at all a little bit? They're having a decent season over there again.
I have. Yeah, I have. You know, nothing extensive that I can report on there, but I do know that you know, they've added a few players the last week and a half or so. Chess and Red have a new billet apparently, and he's coming from the U.S. and I think they're looking for a little bit more pumping in their scoring. But again, you know, they're sitting in a pretty decent spot too in the league. But I know that you know, it's like Stratford too. You're always going to be out there looking for whatever it is you think you need, because you have to be able to consistently harvest and cultivate to the best of your ability in this league for whatever reason that is. You could lose a player to injury or another team or whatever that is. So I think St. Mary's is kind of in that mode right now, due to the fact, again, that they've added 2 or 3 players over the last week and a half.
Yeah, and that's, you know, it's just the way I think St. Mary's will be there at the end. You know, I did take Stratford to finish 5th, St. Mary's to finish 4th. So we get the series we've all been looking for, which would be nice.
Absolutely.
See, you know, it would be
and let's face it too, like with St. Mary's, like let's be honest, losing Spicola and Jaden Lee, they're you know, they had 2 choices. They can keep going, or you know, it's going to be a long year, and they've really put on, you know, the coaching staff there too. They do a great job, and the committee there that builds the team. So, you know, they're doing the right things, and ideally, and I think you'd agree with me, Les, you know, we want both these teams doing great because we want to see that playoff work out.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's something, you know, we've dreamed of. We've dreamed of a Stratford St. Mary's 7-game, just a playoff series. You know, I 100%. Figured it would go 7 games. All right. Let's move on to something else, Jeff. Jeff, I wanted to get your thoughts. We haven't talked much since Toronto Blue Jays in the World Series. What did you think about that run?
Well, congratulations to the Toronto Blue Jays. You know, 11th inning in Game 7. I don't know what else you could ask for. I will say this, and I don't want to sound painfully biased, but it's the first time I have felt unimpressed by the World Series champions. I completely think Toronto was a better team. The biggest challenge that they had is they couldn't capitalize on their opportunities, and mistakes. All that stuff happens, and you really find out how much luck's involved with winning a championship too, with just certain circumstances. Not making excuses. Hats off to LA, but um, people may think I might be a little off my kilter, but I see no reason in a perfect world why Toronto doesn't win that in 5. I'm just saying that. It may be a
Yeah.
little aggressive, but that's what I saw. How about yourself?
I had mentioned to somebody. I said, you really look at the baseball gods in this. There were some plays that just don't get made. You don't see in games.
Yeah,
The ball under
yeah,
the fence. Everybody's they're whining about that. I said, but it's right there in the rule book, and
yeah.
this is why you have plate meetings, and it's
It hasn't happened since it opened in '89,
yeah,
and here we are.
yeah.
Right?
And the catch the guy makes out there tripping over
Yeah.
his own player for LA. You don't see that. Um,
No.
Usually that ball drops and you win the game, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a great run by the Jays. It really
Yeah.
captivated this country. Like the official ratings, and there was half the country watching that game. So that doesn't include the
Yeah.
bars or the people that were watching it on illegal TV or stuff like that, right? Just trying to
Yeah.
watch this game. There were
Well,
so many people.
the highest viewership in like what was it, 21 years or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
And all we can say to the MLB is you're welcome,
yeah,
because would it have been that way if it was Seattle and LA? The answer is no.
yeah. No, and I,
But,
kudos to them for bringing in the new fans. My oldest boy's texted me. He goes, I didn't watch much, but we watched. Him and his girlfriend watched all 7 games. My wife doesn't watch a lot of Blue Jays games, and she watched all 7 games with me. She didn't
yeah.
stay up for that marathon game. Um,
Oh yeah.
I remember your post the next day was probably the funniest
Oh.
one. You are not available for any more late games for the
Oh
rest of
my
the series.
gosh. I went to bed at 10 after 2 and woke
Yeah,
up at 6 o'clock, and I literally said to myself, how am I going to get through my 10-hour day at work? Like I feel like I've been out all night drinking, and we didn't have a drop.
yeah.
Like it was here's something for you too that you probably really noticed too, is the absolute exhaustion that you have with emotion, with lack of sleep, with conversation, with everything that's involved when your team goes for a run like Toronto just did. I would do it again, but holy juice, it was just exhausting.
Oh yeah.
Like in the final out, I don't want to sound insensitive, but I'm like, thank God this thing's over. I hate to say
It
that.
was such an
Oh,
emotional ride, right? Um,
yeah,
I thought one of the funniest thing was they were playing in the division series, and I had been working early in the morning, going to work early in the morning, and getting up late, and all that. And I had fallen asleep during the game, and I wake up to my wife poking me, going, "Hey, the Jays are going to the World Series," and I'm sitting there going, "Who the heck are you, and what the heck did you do with my wife?"
oh,
Because
geez, yeah.
I never knew she goes, "Oh, I watched it all. It was great," you know, and she had fun. I just want to thank the
But
Jays for an incredible season.
oh, it was unbelievable. And talking in the spring, you know,
Yeah.
I will say I love being wrong
Oh,
when it matters to stuff like that. I had him
yep.
at 500. I'm pretty sure you did.
I wrote him off in
Um,
May.
yeah, and
You know.
but last time was the truth. That's what they were showing us. There was a lack of chemistry, there was a lack of execution, all these different things, and somewhere along the way, they played sandlot baseball. And that's
Yeah.
all it was, and they pulled it together. And there was a different hero every day. You had players go down, players step in. Huge kudos to Nate Lucas.
Yep.
Like that guy, how many over the first baseman head base hits did he do this year?
Yep. Yep.
The guy's incredible.
Yeah. Another guy, Ernie
And
Clements,
well, Ernie, I mean,
like sets
nobody
a
talks about
record.
the
Yeah.
fact that he broke the record for postseason hits at 30.
Yeah.
30 hits.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with him being a full time starting infielder next year if things don't work out.
Yep.
Just being honest.
I think there's got to be some excitement going into next year. We'll see what they do during the offseason. It sounds like the destination for people is Toronto now. It's
well,
just because
I heard,
they saw that playoff run and what the fans are like here. And
Miles Straw knows Tucker from Chicago really well.
I saw that,
and apparently we're in the running for that now. I think, with that being said, we've heard this song and dance before, but I like the fact that it's not a Soto or an Ohtani. This is a really obtainable player that can really bolster the lineup. Now, here's a question for you, Les. What are your thoughts about Bo? Like, what if he requires a $200 million contract? You need him back.
If you can get him for 4 years at $200 million, I pay it.
Okay.
I pay it.
Okay. That's fair.
Because your window is now. If you can get him for 4 years, he is one of the best hitters in baseball. There's no doubt about it. A willingness to play second base, maybe still, if they can get I just think he saw it in the playoffs. He's willing to do what it takes to win, and Toronto might be the destination for people because they're going to have to. I think right now you'd have to say they got to be one of the favorites to get back to the World Series next year.
I think so, because we didn't talk about the other series, which is fine, but and not anything against Yankee fans, but that series wasn't even close.
Nope.
They lost the game, and that's fair and fine, but the rest of the series, it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close, and they know it. The Seattle series, of course, was what it was. We saw what it was, and it was a roller coaster.
That Seattle series, I think the change in that Seattle series was the manager, John Schneider. When he said, "You don't boo a guy when he's hurt. What are you guys doing?"
When they hit George.
And the fans were booing him, and he said, "You don't boo a guy when he's hurt." And I think that just gelled this team together. And like I said, they came back and they won the games at home. They did what they had to do. Seattle and Toronto's always been a big rivalry because you get so many Canadian fans at the Seattle games.
It's true.
Because it's such a quick trip there from Vancouver. This playoff run was so magical. It brought back so many memories of years past. 32 years since they won the World Series. I feel really old.
And that's fair too, Les. But let's be honest. We were all old enough to remember and appreciate it back in the day, 32 years ago, like you're talking about the back-to-back. And let's face it, if there was no strike, you'd probably see an all-Canadian World Series, which would have been unbelievable. But the Jays would have been there again. You have to be confident with Montreal 14 games up when the strike happened that they would have been right in the mix too. But I couldn't agree with you more about the magic that happens when your baseball team, especially a unique team like the Jays that represents a country, go on that run that they did. I was smiling the whole time. It was miserable some days, trying to shake the cobwebs because we were exhausted. But man, was it worth it? It was so fun. And Janet and I watched every single game, and as you did with your wife and the millions of others of people. And it was just, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it.
I'll say a funny comment I got because I had my knee replacement surgery when the World Series started, October 24th. And the funny thing was somebody had said to me, "How did you plan that?" And I said, "It's just the baseball gods working in my favor for once."
There you go.
So I was able to ride everything out. The first game on the Friday night was a little heavily drugged up, but it was okay. We got through it. If you haven't watched the Netflix documentary on Who Killed the Expos guys, watch it. It is a fabulous put together documentary on Who Killed the Expos. I'm a big watcher of baseball docs, football. I'll watch a lot of sports documentaries, and this is probably one of the best ones I've seen in quite a few years. So if you get a chance, guys,
and they're really doing those. They're really doing them well. And Janet and I watched it, and by the end of it, she just goes, "I remember them leaving, but I had no idea." It's like,
I was an Expos fan. I was a Jays fan. I was an Expos fan. I said I could be a Jays fan. They're in the American League, an Expos fan. I was a big Gary Carter fan. In '94, when they had the strike and that was the Expos' chance to win it. I still think there'd be a team in Montreal if they would have made it to the World Series. Didn't have to win it, just made it to the World Series. I think you still have a team in Montreal. That sort of killed baseball for me for a while. It took me a while to come back and watch baseball again. But yeah, like I said, if you guys get a chance, Netflix, Who Killed the Expos, very good documentary.
Well, and let's be honest, you say that it killed your love of baseball for a few seasons. I think the resurgence of it was the Maguire Sosi years, where they were all of a sudden, in competition to beat records and hitting astronomical amounts of home runs and Barry Bonds and all those those players that we're talking about. That was a resurgence, I think, because they needed something because the rest wasn't cutting it.
Yep. And there's another good documentary on that. It's the 60 ESPN 60 for 60. I think it's called The Summer I Sent with Sammy and Mark. It's a great chase. There's just even some of the I'll even admit it, the PED scandal, that's always going to be forefront with those years. But there's some great documentaries on that as well. If you guys want to watch some baseball docs, go look for them. They're great.
Yeah.
All right. Let's turn our attention to the NHL for a little bit here. I want to get
sorry.
Yep.
Sorry. Can we take 2 seconds? I just got to go to the washroom.
Yeah, no problem. We'll pause it right here and we'll be right back. Just give us a break and we'll take a break. All right, here we are back. Just took a little break there. Jeff needed to use the little boys' room. I can't hobble that for the little boys' room on one leg yet. Doing good. I thought Darcy tried to kill me today. Okay, Jeff, we're going to move on to the NHL.
All right.
I'm going to ask you a point-blank question because I don't know what to say anymore. What is wrong in Toronto?
I don't know. Well, over our years, Les, I know you've been too familiar with just how I spoke of them and the disdain and back and forth and so on and so forth. I'm past that stage with this team because I think we are witnessing
a self-implosion.
Yeah. I think what we're witnessing, Les, and I could be wrong, but you are literally looking at a 10-year window with some of the top players in the NHL, and opportunities have come and gone. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to be in a rebuild, but the thing that I don't understand, and something that you don't see in the league, is after 20 games, if you're underachieving as a top tier team, your GM comes out and gives a nothing press conference about him taking the brunt of quote unquote his hockey team. I don't think it's necessary, and I don't think that it's warranted by anybody. And I think that with the lethal approach of Toronto media, I think that they felt that this is what they had to do. To answer your question about what's wrong, in my point of view, I really think that Toronto needs to stop bringing average players into Toronto on a float. And Joshua, Roy, Marcelli, is it Marcelli? Is that his name?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So when he came to town, Les, they had him possibly, and I say possibly, him on the first line with Matthews to not replace Marner, but to grow, to be able to work with Matthews to get him going. He was a healthy scratch in Utah last year for 32 games.
Yep.
And the Toronto, I don't know if it was the club or the media or whatever, are bringing these guys into town. And to be honest, I just don't think it's a fair analysis of what these players are capable of. Joshua was supposed to be, a tougher edge and being able to answer the call of physical games and all that. Well, he's done none of that for you guys. Johnny Tavares is playing like he's 26 years old.
Yeah.
And all he's done is had the took off his sweater and the pay cut, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But the guy just keeps showing up.
Willie Nylander's having a great season. He's sitting there.
He is having a great season. He's a
there in
great player in the NHL.
Yep. Sitting there in the
Their
top
top producers are producing. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
Matthews, your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's up there. Okay, let's go the other way. What's going right in Montreal? Montreal is having a fabulous season so far to start early. We're early here, but they're playing very well. Very good hockey.
I'll start with what I believe, and that is Ken Hughes and Scott Gordon. These two are fresh faces in the management position. I mean, Gordon was in, I believe, the Islanders system, but Ken Hughes, I remember, and respectfully, I remember you going, he's a player agent. Like what his resume is nothing.
Yeah.
And all he's really done since he's been there are make sound decisions, not blockbuster decisions, but pieces that they need, pieces that enrich the lineup that are going to progress and hopefully flourish into something that's going to be great. Davidoff, to get him at number 5. There's lots of reasons why they got him at 5, and a lot of it was political and stuff like that. But what's going right? They're being enthusiastic about progress, and they know that they're not there yet. We have a goalie situation that I'm not too comfortable with right now, but they'll figure that out too. If you told me that they were in third place with 2 or 3 games in hand to Boston, who's in first place at 20 games in, I'd take it. So Suzuki's playing well, Coley's doing well, but over the last weekend, they've had some really tough injuries come. Newhook broken ankle, Kirby Doc hurt again with a broken foot. So they'll have to battle through that. Gooley's gone for another eight weeks or so, which is going to hurt. But Lane Houston's right on track again. You've got the leadership of Matheson on the D. There's just a lot of good little things happening that are adding up to a lot. I like the approach that Coach St. Louis is taking. He doesn't have a glamorous resume, but he's taking time with the young players. He's an MVP and a Stanley Cup champion. He knows a couple things about a couple things, and I think he's coming into his own. If you asked me a year and a half ago, would he be coaching this team as they make this turn that they're taking? I probably would have bet you $100 that he would not be. So, a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, I just took a quick look at the standings. I haven't looked at the standings much in the NHL, and you got Jersey first, Carolina second in the conference, in the Western Conference, Pittsburgh third, Boston fourth, Detroit up there in fifth. There's a team we picked last year to turn the corner. I think finally they've turned the corner in Detroit. Did you happen to catch Sunday's game, Detroit and the Rangers?
I did.
And the end of it.
Yeah.
I got a text right away from the boy. He says, "Oh my gosh, I've never seen that." And I'm like, yeah, because there really hasn't been anything like that in a long time in the NHL.
It's true. Yeah. But and those are just two teams that are ready to go at it, right? Too. Yeah. So, I mean, there's don't look now, but Boston's back up at the top of the Atlantic, and Les, I think it's fair to say, probably within the last 3 years, that you and I have really been, talking hockey, maybe on a podcast or what have you. As far as we knew, they were supposed to be rebuilding or taking some steps back, maybe missing the playoffs. All these things that come along with losing, the Bergevins and the now Marchand. This team just does not go down.
Yeah.
And, we talked earlier in the Warrior Report about sustainability. We'll have to see how it goes. But, again, you'd ask the question, at 21 games in and you're 12-9-0 with 24 points at top of the Atlantic, would you take it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like Buffalo is absolutely
A tire
going to
fire.
go through it again. Well, they're going to go through it again this year, right? I think, and maybe this is a quick conversation, but is this the year that Tage Thompson maybe goes to another team?
Well, that's what the rumor is, that he's, he wants out
Yeah.
of Buffalo. I think the ownership's the problem in Buffalo.
Yeah,
I
and
think-
you've said that a couple times, and I don't think that's a silly comment, because look at the opportunities that they've had, Les. Like, you've had Jack Eichel, you've had Skinner, you've had Hall, you've had Reinhardt, you've had all these players. No, sorry, they didn't. Did they have Reinhardt? Who was the other?
Yep.
Yeah, Reinhardt.
Yep.
Yeah, like, these are great NHL players. You got Darlene, you've got Owen Power, you've got these really nice pieces. And I mean, they've got limited output on offense, and they've got really questionable defense. And I don't know where it ends with this team. And you mentioned the ownership. At this point, I have to say, does Kevin Adams know what he's doing? Like, I'm just asking.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's the biggest problem. Pagula, I think, is more worried about what's happening in the NFL.
yeah.
He almost treats the Sabres as the stepsister, right?
Yeah, just a little hobby or something.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're mentioning New Jersey up there. Jack Hughes
Oh, that's a huge loss there. That's
had a team dinner.
Yeah.
Messing around with the steak knife.
Yeah. That could have Olympic implications as well. That's a tough one. Jeff, a quick look at the Western Conference. You got the Avalanche, the Stars, the Anaheim Ducks, the Kings, the Kraken, the Jets, the Blackhawks, and the Golden Knights are your top 8 teams in the Western Conference. The Anaheim Ducks. This is a team that was nowhere last year, and now they've put together a nice little team, and they're making a nice run here early in the season.
Well, and let's not forget that they got rid of one of their top draft picks over the last couple of years in Zegras. They sent him off to Philly.
Yep.
Cutter Gauthier.
Yep.
He's on the team now. He's doing nothing except lighting it up. It's interesting how things go, and you can follow hockey as best as you can. This type of team even has the professionals scratching their heads.
Yeah.
Right. Now they're talking about them over the next week or two, how they might be coming back down to size. Well, at this point, it really doesn't matter, because when you're in this position, even a quarter of the way through the season, that's progress, Les. Like, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for bright spots. You're looking for for players that are going to start to really define themselves coming into some bright spots for your team. That's exactly what's happening with Anaheim right now, right?
Yeah.
They're averaging 3.2 goals a game. That's 20th in the league. Their power play is running at 20.9, which is 15th. So on goals for is 3.6, which puts them third in the league. So their offense is producing. They're looking at a lot of great players here, Les. And this is the team that just got rid of Gibson.
Yep.
Who was supposed to be one of the anchors and the reason why they were going to be able to move forward. But I mean, here we are, and let's not kid ourselves. He's playing amazing for Detroit, and that's putting them in a position that they are.
Yeah.
But couldn't agree with you more. First in the Pacific, 12-6-1, Anaheim Ducks. Write it down.
Yep. And then another notorious slow start for the Edmonton Oilers. Connor McDavid's putting up the points. He's right behind Nathan McKinnon in the points race. I don't know if you saw it a couple weeks ago. You had the 2 kids leading the points race.
Bedard and Celebrini.
Yeah.
How special are those kids, Les? Like, and I say kids, they're 20 years old.
Do they get an Olympic shot?
Am I making the team?
Are they? Yeah. Are you're making the team?
If I'm making the team, are they on the team? I think you want to put them on there because, and I'm gonna steal a little bit of thunder from an interview I heard, and I just kept nodding my head yes when I was hearing the information, and one of which is you have Crosby, you have McDavid, you have Marchand, you have these quote unquote older players, McKinnon included with that. Canada has a tradition of handing over the torch to amazing players, and I think that the exposure that these kids or young players, even so early in their career, they need, because I think it's gonna propel and carry on the tradition of the high quality of teams that we get, the leadership that we need. Um, I'm so happy Crosby's off to another great start. He's our captain Canada. He always will be, in my opinion, as long as he's in the league. Um, McDavid knows his role. McKinnon knows his role. And would you say Marchand's on the team if it's yours?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just because of what he brings to the table.
yeah. We talked about the Four Nations when we were on the other pod, and the influence that he had in the dressing room, and these are pivotal things that you need to balance out your team. So how about yourself? If you're the GM, are you putting the young players on the team?
Um, I don't know if do you have room for both? I don't know. Um, right now I think Celebrity might be ahead of Bedard.
Right?
Just the way he's been playing this year. But I'd like
Just the
to
way
see
he's
them
been
both.
playing. But and sorry to interrupt you there,
Yep.
Les. But
Yep.
what I think you really mean by the way he's playing is the absolute dominance
Yep.
that he's been doing game in, game out at his age.
Yep. And
Right?
Bedard's been showing that this year with the Blackhawks. Look at where the Blackhawks are right now in the standings. And it's not, there's no secret to it that he's a big part. He's a huge part of that team in Chicago. And another thing, one more guy I want to talk about before we end it here, Jeff, is Corey Perry in LA.
Yeah, party boy.
Does he ever get old?
Well, isn't it something that we talk about a player who's turning 41 years old in the NHL, a former league MVP, a former Stanley Cup champion, known for his offense, known for his absolute dominance when he was playing with with the Ducks. Who's the other? Ryan
Getzlaff.
Thank you. Pure dominance by those guys, right?
Yep.
And now you're getting into a mode, and he's probably been like this in the last, I would probably say 10 years if we're being fair about it. He's not a 20 goal scorer in the league anymore. But let's just say this. I think it's fantastic, and I'm actually really surprised that Edmonton got rid of him. Something, I don't know if something happened, but he's a huge asset to that team, and I think it's really cool that the Kings slip into the Kings slip into Anaheim, and that's their nemesis of all those years, and there he is on the enemy side. So they gave him quite a response. But
yeah, he just seems he's just keeps going and going and going.
yeah, I guess we can say that for Crosby too, right? Like,
Sid Crosby's just having a fabulous year, and it's nice to see. Ovechkin with 900 goals. Yeah. Where does it stop with Ovechkin?
Well, it almost stopped with Binnington stealing the puck. Did you see that?
I saw that. Yeah, he tried to steal the puck on him.
That's hilarious. Where does it stop? I don't know, but I think that there's something that's really evident, Les, and that is, as we get older, we see the different chapters of the league, and we were both fairly young men when those two entered the league, and now they're coming into the end of it.
Yep.
When we were young, it was it was Gretzky, it was Yzerman, it was the legends of the game that we grew up with. And now we're into another chapter where you have Ovechkin on borrowed time. You have Crosby, who's, let's face it, he's on borrowed time. It could be another 3-4 years. He could play till he's 45.
Yep.
Who knows? But it's endless thanks to these players that are so important to the game, and they've been a pleasure to watch. And I'm not saying it's over or whatever, but man, time marches on.
Oh yeah. Speaking of the Ovechkin 900, I saw an interview the other day, and I don't know who it was. He goes, for somebody to break 900 goals, they got to have 50 goals in 18 straight seasons. It's unbelievable. Really, what this guy
It truly
doing.
is. And
I've never been an Ovechkin fan, but I appreciate what he's done.
I'll go one step further. I'm not an Ovechkin fan, but I absolutely respect what he's done. To have 900 goals in one cup is interesting. Let's leave it at that.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. All right, Jeff.
So,
I want to thank you for this. This has been fabulous. Stirring up the old stuff. I hope to get you back on because,
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. And I just wanted to say to you, we were talking a little bit over the last little bit for this to happen, and I really wanted to thank you for the invite and this being able to happen. It's been fun, and I think your audience really appreciates the information that you bring, and it's really been fun, and I really appreciate being able to come on. It's nice to connect and have a little fun.
All right. Thanks for those kind words. I've had a lot of people say, when's Jeff coming on? And I said, we're working on it. We're in negotiations.
Yeah.
We got it done. We got you on. It's great. All right, everybody, at the bottom of the screen you see St. Thomas Stars Friday night, 7:30 puck drop. General and I on the air at 7:25, and then Sunday afternoon, 4:30 game against Strathroy Rockets. So if you got nothing going on Sunday afternoon, come on down to the Almond, catch out some Junior B hockey because it's fabulous hockey. It's a great product to watch. Like I said again, Jeff, thanks for doing this. It's great to be able to talk baseball and hockey, NHL, Junior B. You're always great to have on. You're a wealth of knowledge. Thanks again, sir.
Thanks, Les. Cheers.